Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Not Quite Nerds. 24. We're almost at half a year. We've almost done this every day for 6 months, every week for 6 months. Every day. I told you for maths if bad, right? I told you. We've got shoes on, I can only count to 12. No, but how crazy is that? We're almost 6 months into this journey.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So
Very cool.
I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. This week, we are going to look at Stranger Things. So, spoiler alert, if you have not completed Stranger Things, you've not watched Stranger Things, and you want to, or you don't give a shit about Stranger Things, this is not the podcast episode for you. Please come back next week.
Well, if you don't give a shit, still give a listen.
I mean, you don't have to, but you can. You could just let it play in the background. Let's go. Yeah. So, Stranger Things. How crazy is it that a show that has less than 50 episodes has had such a cultural impact?
It's a huge impact, not just on nerd culture, but obviously Dungeons and Dragons and just also music. You know, can we talk about how Joe Carey's band has the number one song on Spotify?
Oh, there we go. I didn't know that. There's some information for you.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah, he beat Taylor Swift. So I mean, I already loved Steve, and now I love Steve even more.
Well, we take it. We take it every day of the week, right? It's as simple as that. We'd take anything knocking Taylor Swift off her perch, even if it's for the short period. I say that. I would rather Taylor Swift be on the perch than Donald Trump, but we're not going to go politics this week.
That was last week and week before. Before that.
My heart can't handle it. Happy things.
Happy things. Happy things.
And Stranger Things.
Stranger Things did finish, so...
Okay.
Me back ass? Well, your heart can't handle it because your heart's like, what do I have to look forward to? And maybe that's something we can put out to the listeners. We can say, Mallory has finished Stranger Things. What does she need in her life that's going to improve things other than the 6 million hours of Marvel stuff she has yet to finish? And now she is actually running on like a deadline. The deadline is closing in on you because we do have new Marvel product this year, which is going to be significant into the MCU. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, okay. Also, you make a really good point because I realized I got into this funk after I watched the finale.
So there we go. That's what it is. So that was the end of the episode. It was that bad. It ruined Mallory's life.
No, okay. I'll give you guys a spoiler, and maybe it's a hot take. I liked the finale.
Okay. All right. Let's start before the finale, because we've not done any of season 5, right?
No, we did the first 4 episodes.
We did volume 1.
We did volume 1. Okay, so let's go volume 2. What did we think?
I have a hot take, but I think that first of all, I hated the fact that they released it in 3 volumes. Let's just establish that. We already established that, I think, at the last time we talked about it. But they were saying that it's going to be a dark Christmas. And when they released it, I was really let down, to be honest. I thought that the first volume, episode 4, ended on like a pinnacle moment. You know, we got to see Will become essentially a sorcerer instead of a wizard like his D&D character.
Yep.
But he such a high note, like, wow, like this is, maybe they have a chance. They have a chance against Vecna. Now they got Will, they have 11, like this is going to be great. And then I feel like that next volume was just, I didn't nosedive, but I wasn't thrilled. I really wasn't. I think they focused so much on Holly, who I don't think is not a bad character. Like she's fine, but she became the focus. She was essentially the main character of season 5. And you can tie it back to season 1 when she's following the lights, when they go and visit Joyce, when Will is missing, that maybe Vecna had his eye on her, or the Mind Flayer had his eye on her way back when she was a toddler. But still, I wasn't thrilled. with how that volume went. I really wasn't.
Okay. All right. And Mallory has a counter opinion to that, so let's do it.
Well, okay. I think my counter opinion just is just everyone's opinion as to season 5 in general. I think we as a society are so, I don't know, like marvelized that we are trying to find Easter eggs. We're trying to figure out when the other shoe's going to drop. And that's never been Stranger Things. Like, if you go back, like season 1, like it's not like there's like this big reveal at the end. The show's just always kind of been the show. It's not like everything's kind of been overly spiderwebs connected. And I think that's why I liked it. I don't know, I feel like the show was true to itself. I don't think it had the Game of Thrones ending. And I do agree. I think that it was a little too Holly focused for a season finale, for the series finale, like for a final season. But if they're setting up something else, which I think they've kind of alluded to that they are, it's not the worst thing. But I agree that it shouldn't have been 3 drops. And I also don't think it should have been 3 drops on 3 holidays. I never think that's a good idea. But I don't know, I still liked it.
Okay. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Thought it was great. Was it the perfect ending? No. Was it the greatest ending to a TV show ever? No. Was it 4 really good, fun episodes that wrapped up a story nicely? Absolutely. I as a whole, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was everything that I wanted it to be. Holly included. I enjoyed Holly. I thought Holly was a really good character. She was a way to steer the narrative through it. But I think the problem is everybody's looking at it as this one big story and build up and all of this thing, and actually it's 5 separate campaigns as the part of the same campaign in D&D. And as you play D&D, sometimes a character comes and sometimes a character goes. And in this, we were introduced to Holly early on, and she was a fringe character, and they've drip fed more and more and more of her in. And in season 5, she was just the narrative driver. She wasn't.
See, that's where I disagree though, because I feel like she was a fringe character because she was Mike's littlest sister, who was essentially a toddler, and you saw her a little bit, like I said in season. You saw her throughout all 4 seasons at some point, but they went from being a drip here, a drip there, to being like, let's turn on the faucet full blast, and it's just the Holly show.
But you could say the same thing about Erica. Like, Erica had a scene in season 1. She had like 2 scenes in season 2, and then everybody loved how sad. Then everyone loved how sassy she was, so she became a permanent fixture.
Right, but I feel like they built her up though. That was the thing. I feel like she had the opportunity because of the age of the character that she was like, you're right. She had like 1 scene in season 1, then 2 or 3 in 2, and so on and so forth. You got to build up to her being a more dominant figure, especially in season 4, with her working with, the Hawkins crew while the crew traveling from California was coming over. But with Holly, it was just drip, 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 full on faucet. And again,
I feel like Erica was drip season 1 and 2 and full faucet season 3.
And I mean, that argument, Robin was just full faucet.
Yeah, I mean,
Robin
there's
just
another
turn the faucet she's on. Murray could be argued the same as Holly, was a drip, 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 and then all of a sudden he's a fundamental character in season 4.
Yeah, became a fundamental character in season 3, towards the latter part.
Yeah.
Pretty much almost the entire season of 4, and to a certain degree the entire season of 5 as well. I just feel like they could have gone in different directions, and maybe you're right, Mal. Like, you have an opportunity to, and maybe that's also part of the reason why I didn't like how they did the drops, because having that week or having the month in between volumes 1 and 2, and then having the full week between 2 and 3, it makes the mind wander. And it makes you think of how they could play this out and how things could end up being resolved or not resolved, who might die, who will die. And it almost gave you too much time to think about it. And I think that's a lot of it as well.
What they did was they dropped 4 episodes, and they dropped 3 episodes, and they dropped 1 episode. So over an 8-week period, they dropped 8 episodes. Now, it's not
Yeah.
their fault, Luch, that you had no self-control and had to watch them all as soon as they all dropped.
Aaron, you can't just point the finger at Luch. None of us have self-control.
None of us has self-control.
No, I mean-
Let's face.
But I've got the self-control to not moan about the fact that they gave us 8 episodes over 8 weeks, and I binged them all in one go as soon as I could. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that everyone's issue with Holly is that it's the series finale. I think if it wasn't the series finale and there was another season, people wouldn't care so much that Holly was such a big role. And that doesn't bother me.
And they could have.
This me and Luke briefly talked about it. Sorry, I'm going to jump in. This is my whole thing, though, is Holly was never a character. Holly's a non-playable character, right?
She's happy.
All that happens is all the way through it, they've been on a D&D campaign. The original party have been on a D&D campaign, right? And the only person that's been added to the D&D campaign is Max. Elle was never added. Elle was a non-playable character who was there to assist them on their journey. The rest of the characters that were introduced were there to send them on the journey. And in this season, the character that was there to send them on their journey and to drip feed them the information and to drip feed us, the audience, the narrative information they needed in order to wrap things up, in order to demonstrate Vecna's big plan, was as simple as that. Now, the big difference, I think, between season 4 and some of the earlier seasons was we saw that. Holly was a window into what Vecna was doing, whereas previously we've never seen that. We've been stuck on the side of the main characters trying to figure out what Vecna's doing and never really getting that. And in this season, what we actually saw was Holly and Max giving us what Vecna was seeing and allowing us to see what Vecna was trying to do from his perspective, which was a change. But ultimately, it was a D&D campaign. We were only ever going to get the wrap up of the main characters. Everybody else was an NPC or somebody to help them along their journey. You know, that helper, the person they've stopped, or the person in the bar that says, there's haunted woods over there. I believe there's treasure at the bottom of it. You know, off you go and enjoy the adventure.
Wait, before you go, take this.
Exactly. Please help me. Somebody has kidnapped my daughter. Can you please go save her? Somebody's kidnapping all the kids, which effectively, how many times have you played D&D or seen in a D&D storyline? That has been it. You show up at a village and all the kids have been kidnapped. Please, can you go save them? That is the basic undermarket of this whole thing.
No, and listen, and I'm okay with that, but there are so many aspects of the season that I question. I question the fact that there is not one parent in that whole town other than Joyce and Hopper who have like any clue they have kids. Like, where is Lucas's parents?
Bear in mind, in the 80s, there's an advert they used to air at 10 p.m. that said, do you know
Do you know where your kids are? No, I know. But and listen, and I would understand that if all of the crap in Hawkins hadn't happened. I mean, literally a portal to another dimension opened, and the parents were just like, all right, like the military's here and they put steel on it.
The military said it was just an earthquake. The parents didn't know it was a portal to another dimension, and they were gated in. Where were the kids going?
By season 5, you were like, well, I know they're here somewhere.
They can't leave.
They have no doubt.
Okay, fine, fair enough. I still find it a little ridiculous, but like, okay, I'll give you that one. But
They're in a prison camp. Maybe they're in a military prison camp. Where could they have got to?
But all right, you know what is interesting? Switching gears a little bit and not trying to get political, but it's going to get political. When all the kids teamed up against Holly, she said that Vecna was the bad guy. Vecna told the other kids he wasn't. And the other kids like beat up Holly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they totally beat the crap out of her. They literally pushed her down the stairs like that. Like, yeah.
Really dangerous.
Yeah.
No, very dangerous.
I think what was most interesting about that was delightful Derek and his unwillingness. Yeah, his unwillingness though to step up and do the right thing and back her up. Now, we're not getting political or anything, but I mean, there is a something that we could all probably be doing and seeing a little bit more of in the world.
So based upon your comments, you guys both enjoyed this last season. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm going to be the outlier here because there's one I think one of the biggest pet peeves I have with this season is they let a massive opportunity be in my opinion, completely and utterly wasted, and that is Linda Hamilton. You literally have Sarah Connor in this show, and I can only recall her having like 8, 9, maybe 10 lines the entire show. That character was utterly wasted. You wasted that character. You wasted this phenomenal actor who's like the epitome of the 80s. I just feel like she was wasted. You don't know what happens after what, like the last scene that you see of her is her just watching Elle vanish behind the portal. And then nothing. No reconciliation of what happened with the military. The military just lets everybody like go. They're, Hopper and everybody have killed how many soldiers in the Upside Down? They let all those pregnant women die, presumably when they blew up the portal, or when they blew up the bridge. There is zero reconciliation of any of those pretty major plot points. And then you have this person who's supposed to be like the new Dr. Brenner or new general guy or whatever. You have Linda Hamilton there, and I feel like she was just they could have had anybody else play that character, and it would have had the exact same effect.
Yeah, you're right, but they didn't.
And that's just such a waste. Such a waste.
They got Linda Hamilton and gave her probably one of the only acting gigs she's had in the last 5 years of significance, because she was an 80s star. She only
John Astin didn't have to be Bob.
Yeah.
Anybody could have been Bob.
No, but at least he did stuff. You know what I mean? Like he became a character that was definitively important to how that story came out. He was the only one who knew BASIC. He was the only one who was able to go down there and be able to mess with that computer system in order to turn this stuff on. You could have plucked an older woman out of the street and just put her in Stranger Things, and it would have been the exact same.
But the whole point,
nothing.
Those are the Easter eggs, though. I feel like you have Linda Hamilton in this 80s show. Like, she's the Easter egg. Like, you have Elle dressed as what's his face from the Goonies. Like, those are for us.
Those are little Easter eggs, but then I also get then where people go from, because I was all up on the Instagrams and watching videos, and yeah, now maybe you're right, because of the age of Marvel that we've been in for the last almost damn near 20 years, not quite, but getting there. People are looking for stuff, and you're right. Maybe Stranger Things hasn't always been that show, but when you do certain things like that, when you put Elle in the outfit of what's his face from Thanos from the Goonies, I always forget the actor's name, which is terrible. But when you bring in someone, I think the more part that annoyed me was when you bring in a character or an actor like Linda Hamilton, who was in The Terminator, which is all about time travel and all about preventing a judgment day and stuff like that, to not have that come back around in some way is almost a disservice, not only to you as the showrunner when you have this like crown jewel of the 80s, but it's also a disservice to your fans.
Or is it just misdirection? Is it misdirection? Is it them knowing that the fan bases are spending so much time analysing every detail of this that we're going to throw that in there and we're going to have some fun with it and we're going to totally misdirect from it? Or is it a case of, ultimately, she is not part of the party, so we don't need to know where she reconciles, what happens to her? Maybe that's something they can come back to in 10 years' time. Maybe that's a character, a villain, an army, a general that's still out there that can be dealt with on the next campaign.
Like, I've been saying this for weeks when we talk about all these Marvel shows, that I don't want to know the spoilers. Like, I don't want to watch the trailers. Like, I like the trailers that they throw in the fake stuff because I don't want to know what I'm getting into. Like, I like just to be in the moment while I'm watching these things. And I think that's why I enjoyed this season of Stranger Things, because I wasn't really, other than talking to you guys, like hypothesizing what was going to happen. So I just sat and I enjoyed, and I was in the moment, and I liked it.
And it is a case of there's so many people with so many fan theories. There's so much stuff going on there. I mean, we can talk about a good friend of ours who acquired a downloaded copy of the last Harry Potter book, read it cover to cover, like 400 pages, and then found out it wasn't the right one. It was just fan fiction. I mean, that's effectively what has happened there, is people have gone out and thrown their own theories out there, and they've thrown everything they possibly can. And I mean, there's the whole theory about we're getting this extra episode.
The secret 9th episode, which I'll be honest with you, I fell for it a little bit.
Of course you did, because you watched all the stuff online.
But
I fell for it a little bit because I was so disappointed with how I'm like, this could be a way for them to fix it, especially because of the whole thing with Will, which I'll get to in a second.
But I don't think
Off the internet, Rich.
they didn't need to fix anything. There was no need to fix anything. And Will getting those powers was Will learning a new spell. Was Will stepping up in power. He progressed, his character have leveled up, and now he has access to a new spell. That's all Will was ever doing. He was just it was just that progression, his natural progression of his character. And we see it with the others. We see it in a different way. But Will doesn't level up the same as the other characters. You know, like we see them become more athletic or become start using their intelligence in a different way. We never saw any progression from Will until this episode, or until that episode, where all of a sudden Will levels up, and now all of a sudden the whole team's leveled up, and we can suddenly see them take on Vecna.
No, like I see where you're coming from, and and if we're using that D&D, which has always been which has always been their vehicle for explaining what's happening to them. I agree with that. We see Elle level up with her ability to, use her powers and not necessarily always have her nose bleeding when you're doing that, that parkour training montage that she does. I'm down with all that. But talking about Easter eggs, the whole scene with Will coming out, which I think was well done. I mean, I think it was well written. I think his delivery,
inaccurate, though. So inaccurate.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 80s.
But there were so many inaccuracies with what he was. There were so many inaccuracies with what he was saying. And I'm going to bring up 2 points. I don't have the script in front of me, obviously, but like,
if you're about to say the general store,
yes,
that's one of them.
No, that's wrong. Everyone saying that it's wrong is wrong, because at that time you would get milkshakes at general stores.
Yeah, but his mom worked at Melvid's, and it was a general store. It didn't have a bar.
She worked there.
Whereas in the 50s and early 60s, it was a diner.
Yeah,
right.
And that's canon to the first Shadow. The plot.
Well, we only saw her working there in season 2. We don't know what it was like.
I was going to say, we only ever see it once.
No, that's not true. We saw Joyce working there in season 1.
But we only see properly what it's like after the mall is opened, when the whole town is dying. The whole point of that the mall opening is that representation of America shifting to the mall and town centers dying. And so when the only time we ever explore the store is when Hopper and Joyce are having their moments in the store and the magnet stuff is happening.
She stole the store when Joyce.
And you don't know. We don't know when it changed from what we didn't see to what we did see. It could have happened while they were in elementary school, for all we know. Like, everyone's assuming it's all about the Broadway show. And I think that's people trying to justify them not liking it.
And again, without having not seen the show, and I know, Luch, you've given me an overview of it, but I've tried to ignore all of that so I can go and be surprised by the show. The bigger hole for me is that Joyce and Vecna are different age groups of people. Like, he is not as young as he has appeared as when he was working. So either he lived in the 50s and did the murdering then, in which case he should be Hopper's age, right? Or he's somebody who's coming in between men. So the biggest hole for me is that the way that these timescales match up. They don't, because him as an actor is more of the age of Steve, and the way that he appears when.
No, I agree with you. I think that is a failure on the Duffers.
So
yeah. I think that is a failure on the Duffers, because you're not wrong. Because Henry Creel would have been a freshman when Joyce and Hopper were seniors. So you're right. They should definitely be closer in age. I mean, Henry Creel looks like he's in his early 30s at most.
I would say at early 20s.
Maybe early 20s in the scenes with 11 and stuff in season 4.
Yeah.
You're 100% right, where he would have been probably more like in his mid 30s, like around with Hopper's age or Joyce's age. So
do you know how old Jamie Campbell Bower actually is?
He's older than I think me.
Yeah, he's 37.
He's like 37. Yeah. He doesn't look it.
He's still not
Well done.
someone, which is what Joyce
Nipple.
Hopper are supposed to.
Yeah. But that's where I think that's the issue that maybe then I'm having, is because although I agree with you that the look is wrong, if I'm taking what the Duffers are saying is canon, which is the first Shadow, then if Hopper is 18 and Joyce is 18 at that time, Henry Creel is 14. So they were close enough in age where they, could it have changed over during that time? Of course it could have. Of course it could have. But also, Will says, getting lost in the woods. Why would Will have a good memory about that? Maybe he would have before 1983. But do you think he would really look back on getting lost in the woods with his friends as a positive experience when the last time he got lost in the woods, he was taken to another dimension?
Jonathan actually says that the woods become a place he doesn't like after. Like, he loves the woods. They go and build the fort when his dad dies. They talk about that.
Yeah, that's
You're right. But he's talking about what he loved. He's not saying I love now. He's talking about what he loved. So
What they love together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dick.
I don't know. I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm going to tell you guys all the things I loved about hanging out with you. I'm not going to tell you the things this year. I'm going to tell you the things that we did in 2008, 2009, 2010. Like, I'll go backwards.
Go into the bar. Go into the bar. Go into Hingham. Go into the bar.
Okay, but I'm going to say, I'll say I enjoyed going to, oh my God, what was the name of the bar? It's now Juan Murphy's.
The Dubliner.
We go
Mahoney's?
Oh, no, not Mahoney's.
The Dubliner.
Oh.
The Dubliner.
Dubliner, yeah.
And if somebody was like, oh, the Dubliner hasn't been there. But like, okay, yeah, Dubliner's not there now, but it was there in 2008. And then you'd have somebody going, okay, but Mallory was 17 in 2008. She wouldn't have been at the Dubliner. Yeah, I was. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the
Maybe I'm just
is
too
believing. The problem we've got is everyone gets over analytical, and we used to have hardcore fans that would have these conversations, and now we have social media where all of these things can get shared. And it is, without getting political, it is just a representation of society where you watch one thing and then it says, oh, he watched all 6 minutes of that, so let's give him more of that. And then before you know it, you're like, well, all of these guys must be absolutely right because they're all saying the same thing. And you get yourself doing, look, on a personal level, avoiding everything. I enjoyed the first 4 episodes. I thought they were brilliant. Loved the ending. Built to the perfect crescendo. Knew it was going to have to drop down. Knew that they were going to tease us right until the end of that second 3. Brilliant. Loved the emotionally charged episode. Loved that Robin... I love the Robin joke, which just flew so far under the radar. That
was a great joke.
Steve hears that all the time. It's the fact
that was the only time I laughed out loud. I feel like that entire episode.
No, laughed at that point. I laughed at the point where Steve's like, "What is wrong with you?" It was his response to that, where he's like, "We are discussing saving the world, and you're making," but you're like, "I'm with Robin this one."
That's what we would have been doing.
It is. And then you've got all of these things where they're like, oh, they're definitely in a dream because this has changed color and this has done this and this has done that. But remember, they like fully ruined the charge and they've had to do their own maintenance for the longest period of time. So, I mean, all of that could easily be explained, as easy as it's being looked at as why it was a fault. It could be explained.
That's part of my problem with it, though.
The roundabout,
because I agree with you,
are meant to be there as a change. The dial.
Yeah, because I agree with you, because they totally could have had to change out that dial, because you're right, they were doing their own maintenance for the last 18 months while they're working at the Squawk. But when you were so clearly throwing, and you know what, but like if you're talking about a misdirection, like fair enough, but you've literally made it canon that part of Vecna's mind's screwing up of these kids is changing things very slightly, whether it's a color, whether it's something that doesn't belong, and you're throwing it in our face. They left the camera on that dial. They could have left it on for a second. They left it on for like 5 or 6 seconds, making it very clear that it's no longer red, it's now gray. And that could trigger people to be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is a thing. Or during the graduation scene, when you look in the background and you see a sign that's got nothing written on it. It's just a blank yellow sign. No one else is holding any signs anywhere else. That's something that could be out of place, especially because there's nothing written on it. It's just holding up a blank piece of yellow or green paper. Like, these are things that
My favorite one
she
was
sees.
everybody sitting with their hands in their laps, just like Vecna used to walk around. You're like,
Just like,
have you been in graduation robes? Where the fuck?
oh, that's no, yeah, that one I threw out. I agree. That was stupid.
It's like,
But this is why I don't read any of those theories, because like I don't
Also,
I don't know, I enjoyed.
if you pause the graduation scene when Mike approaches and he hugs Karen, and you look off in the background just past Hopper, you see a guy in a brown suit and a hat. It's blurry, but it's clearly there. Let's go back and take a look. It won't take you long to
see a
find.
guy in a brown suit and a hat in the 80s.
At a graduation.
That's batshit.
Granted, our graduation, but what have you conditioned your fans to see?
No,
Him
you've
thrilled
both
as Mr.
your fans to see. You've not conditioned your fans to see anything. You've presented them with a story that you have wanted to tell, and they have conditioned themselves to look for everything. And they disliked the ending you've given them because it wasn't the grand, massive, expansive ending that you wanted. It wasn't the ending that everybody wanted or that you wanted. And so you spend time now picking holes in it because you're like, maybe my ending is out there. And guess what? It isn't your ending because it isn't your D&D campaign. It's theirs. It's the Duffer Brothers D&D campaign. And so it's their story presented their way. And that is what it all comes down to. Now, yes, right, in 10 years' time, we could be sitting here on episode 2652 going, well, the motherfuckers got us. Here we go. Right, they got us. They've been stuck in that, like...
Here's the final ninth episode, 10 years later.
Right, and they might well go and do that. But you know what? They told the story they wanted to tell, and they presented it. So the thing is, we've all got opinions. We could all sit there and say Star Wars should have ended differently. We could all say all of these different things. I thought that it was a great interview, Actors Round Table, and Mark Hamill, they asked him who he would like to do a performance with, or who he'd like to be seen on screen with, and he said Harrison Ford. He said, because I said to the producers, or to what's his face, who directed the Star Wars films, he's like, can we get a moment where you get Leia, Han, and Luke on screen together? And he's like, no, it's not your story anymore, Mark. And he's like, yeah, but that one fan service moment would have blown me into it.
Oh yeah, 100% would totally blown up the insane.
It's not your story. And this is the issue: is we get fans who get so obsessed and they want their story, they want it to be their way. It becomes that whole thing where, and the internet's made it easier for those fan bases to get together. Whereas before, we'd have sat in a pub and had this conversation. And
you're 1,000% right. There's nothing that you've said that I disagree with. And
right now, you're Charlie also in that episode of Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's in the office and you've got the red string.
No, that was me. That was me doing stuff before the final episode came out. I was
I get it. This is what I wanted. This, the biggest thing that one of the biggest things I've seen is people were disappointed in the final battle scene, the fight scene. You've played D&D enough, I've played D&D enough, and I've not played vast amounts of D&D, but I played it enough to know that sometimes you get to that final battle and you roll an 18 and you roll a 16 and you roll a 17.
Oh, you're right. I mean, they're literally, you're rolling dice and all of a sudden like 3 people crit in a row. You're like, okay, I guess we're going to just kill this guy real fast.
I mean, I have one issue with the final scene, the final battle. And I don't even think it's a big deal. I wanted Hopper there. I wanted Hopper and like he'll be a Joyce there. Yeah. I wanted Hopper there. Only because he has been there from the beginning. Everyone else who's been there from the beginning were there. And plus we got Robin. I just wanted Hopper.
I think that was a little bit of I have, I have a lot of qualms with this season, as some of which I've talked about, some of which you guys have disproved, some of which I still continue to agree with you guys on.
Just argued.
Disagreed, and that's fine.
Surprised that you're the minority here. I would have thought that Matt would be nitpicking it with you.
I honestly, I turned off. I have 3 points to make. I turned it off, and I got a text from our friend Kelly, who's probably gonna be listening to this in the shower like she usually does.
Don't forget to wash under your pits, Kelly.
And she said to me, I almost want to read the text message. But she said to me, she goes, what was your thoughts on it? And I was like, I really wasn't a fan. Where is it? Let me see. I need to go back here. I'm sorry. This is totally. Yeah, she said, her husband wanted to know what I thought. I was like, we did watch it. I was not thrilled. And I honestly thought it was a mess. I thought the finale was a bit of a mess, that they had 3 years to come up with this. And I do think that whether they told the story they wanted to tell, good for you guys. Like, I'm down. I've been with you on this journey since 2015. I was like, season 4, I think, was one of the best pieces of television that I've seen in a long time, from start to finish. I thought it was a great. You had the people in California. You had Brenner learning in 11, relearning her powers. You had the Hawkins crew. You had Russia in here. Completely forgot about Russia, by the way, in season 5. That's completely gone. Let's not talk about that. I want to know what happened to Enzo. I want to know. But they just could have done something so much more. And I think they could have really dove in to the 80s nostalgia. You had Linda Hamilton, you have Terminator, you have time travel, you have all the emphasis on Back to the Future. And then you killed your non-NPC mage character at 11. Cool. And then you have Michael going through and giving that kind of like eulogy almost at the end, which I understand. That could totally be a way for him to cope, like with that conversation he had with Hopper, and be able to give him an opportunity to move on. And they had said from the beginning that this wasn't going to be a red wedding or a purple wedding situation like Game of Thrones. And I was down with that. Like, you don't need to kill off half the cast to make this ending or make this finale or this last season good. I'm not saying that, but you took the time to kill off this character. And you can almost understand why she made the choice she made, because she's trying to make sure that this shit doesn't happen ever again. And in my opinion, humbly, you guys could disagree, the Duffers bitched out. They bitched out. They took a hard turn that people were definitely going to be upset with, that you killed off 11, but I could rationalize of why she made that call. And then you left it open for your audience to interpret, which maybe you're thinking that you're doing them a service, and that's okay. I think you're doing I think you're doing a disservice, because you had an opportunity to draw a line in the sand and you left it ambiguous. I want to know what happens. I don't care which way you go. Either she lives or she's dead. I just want to know one way.
What do you like Inception, the movie?
No, I don't.
This all makes sense.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Inception.
Well played.
I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I was not a fan of it. I understand the concept. I understand what they were trying to do with that movie, and there's a shitload of people who like it. I'm not a fan.
But much like the conversation we were having before, Lynch needs somebody to tell him exactly what to do, right? So you have to get in touch with his wife to say, you are going to be here at a certain time. You can't leave it ambiguous.
I can do things.
I loved the ending. Like, I thought it was beautiful and it was perfect. And I loved that it wasn't... I did not picture it when I'm watching it as an actual, like, this is what will happen in the future. The way I interpreted it was, this was Mike telling them what he saw their future to be. So who knows if Max and I'm gonna call him Caleb, Lucas, end up staying together. Who knows if, Will ends up finding, the gay bar scene in New York City. But I love that was Mike's interpretation of what their futures were going to be like, which is why I loved him giving this alternate ending for 11. And I'd like to think that she actually did die. But I like the idea of him keeping her alive through storytelling, because he's the storyteller.
So I'm going to throw it out there. As you've said, this is based on 80s nostalgia, right? This is all about the 80s nostalgia. It's all about those things. Did somebody die in Big?
Did somebody die in Big? Anybody?
Shrunk the Kids.
No.
Did somebody die in The Goonies?
No.
right? We forget this. We're all focused on the Terminator. We're all focused on all these adult movies from the 80s and stuff. But ultimately, this is a kid's adventure, right? You don't have to kill people off. I love the ambiguous ending, because ultimately what that does do is say, if you think Elle's dead, which you want to, you clearly want to think Luch, which is brilliant, fantastic, you can think that. And if you want to...
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I want to believe that she's... I'm just saying either way, but I'm good.
By giving that ending, they're allowing you to choose. And how often do you get to the end of the film and it's just like, well, this is, as I've said before, this is the Duffers story. But the one thing they gave us at the end of that was your choice. You can choose to believe that Elle is out there living somewhere, or you can choose to believe that Elle is dead. And that is your choice. That is for you to decide. Which is a very D&D thing as well. It's all about your choices. It's all about the way you go through things. But my point is...
Celery cry.
Flight of the Navigator is another example of that. The Explorers, kids don't die in 80s movies. They go on these...
Oh, wait, Explorers, great movie. Yeah. Underappreciated, I feel like. Explorers is phenomenal.
We should do an episode in 80s movies. Yeah, we should. We go through this whole thing and nobody dies. And I was like, actually, I didn't want anybody to die. Like, killing somebody is just something you do. And there was no need to kill anybody. There wasn't a need to kill especially any of the main cast. But ultimately, they didn't kill the main cast because they were playing D&D the whole time. That's what it was always all about. They were playing D&D, and it was their adventure, and so be it. And I, as much as you dislike Holly, I thought that moment where Holly hands over, there was the handing over, the mantle was being passed to Holly and dipshit.
No, that was cute. That was cute when the kids ran down to... at that last scene to take up the D&D mantle and continue the play. No, I was down with that. I think that was great. Passing it on to new generation. I have 1 point though. I have a lot of points. I'm sorry, but playing the wrong D&D.
A editing request. When Luch finishes his points, can you just throw in a clip of Elsa from Frozen? Yeah. Let it go. Let it go.
I can't. There's certain things I just can't let go. They're playing the wrong D&D also. We just established that. They're playing D&D 3.5 from my understanding and reading the rules, when really it should have been playing D&D like D&D 2.0.
Maybe they wrote, maybe that's the follow-up. Is they actually wrote D&D 3.5 because you're based on their real life. They were playing 2.0.
0.5 didn't come out the 90s.
3.5 because it was based on what happened in Hawkins.
Yeah, I mean, 3.5 didn't come out, I think, into the 90s, because 4th edition came out like mid-2000s, and 5th edition came out, I believe, in 2014, I believe, because that's the one that I've played. I've never played 4th or 3rd edition. I only played 5th. Which I also just found out, tangent number one, if you're playing the drinking game. There is actually, for those out there who want to experience some D&D, but maybe don't know anybody who wants to play, I have 2 options for you. One of which I'm actively pursuing, and one I'm looking to pursue. There's actually a game on Steam, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 5 called Baldur's Gate 3, which is essentially D&D 5e in video game form, console and PC. And then there's also another website called starplaying.game, which is where you can find your own D&D online games. And there's professional dungeon masters out there who will run games for noobs or for experienced players. And it costs money per session that you do. It's like $10 to $20, depending upon the dungeon master. But for those of you who are interested, those are 2 things that are out there. I've already ordered the game. I didn't even know it existed, but I've ordered it this weekend, and hopefully it arrives later this week. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. I was aware. I was aware of it because a former colleague of mine properly was a big gamer when he was younger, did game design and all that sort of stuff. And when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, was rediscovered his youth. His son had gone off to university, and he was just...
I'm so looking forward to it. I ordered it on the weekend when I found out. Yeah. And it is turn-based, so it literally, you are rolling a d20, virtually, obviously, but you're doing all of those things. You get to create your own character, just like you do in D&D. You can create a different race fighter.
As you described it there, computer games, video games as we know them today, are just the evolution of D&D.
100%. I mean, that's where you literally create a player. Whether it's MLB, NFL, NHL games, NBA. Okay,
I play enough Football Manager to know that basically all Football Manager is you leveling up and rolling a dice to beat a team, and you go into a game with a 16 baseline, so you know you're going to win that game. Like, it's all about those things, and yeah, that's the way it is. That is the way it is. Okay, so
I just found out as I'm scrolling through my Instagram, you two are talking about nerdy things. The Geek Boy Press, who did my Hawkins Middle AV Club shirt, has just released a new shirt that says "Suck my fat one."
yes,
that's great.
So I think I know what I'm getting at Comic-Con next year.
You know what I really want is I want a Rockin' Robin t-shirt.
Which you can get. They actually, from the official Netflix store, you can get like WSQK, the Squawk, like merchandise and stuff like that.
I would absolutely not in any way, shape, or form find that, copy it to Photoshop and just print it off myself.
There you go. Could do that too.
Jennifer Neuer. No. Okay, so what I was going to say is to wrap this up. Here's a question for you. Was it better than the final season of Game of Thrones?
Yes.
That's hard. That's a hard question. Yes. That's what Robin said.
No, she never said it.
Robin, that's right. Robin never said it. That's what Steve said. I don't know. Whatever. Damn. I mean, yes. I mean, it was. I think it was better.
It took you so long to come up with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was better than the last season of Game of Thrones.
What was interesting, I was on IMDb earlier and I was looking at the episode ratings, and it's really funny because you've got episode ratings for season 5, 7.9, 8.3, 8.5, 9.4, 7.9, 8.0, 5.7, 7.6. Can we guess what happened in the 5.7?
Was that the Escape from Kamataz episode when Holly and Max are like podcasting for 20 minutes before they each run to their bodies?
It was the bridge, and it was Will coming out.
Oh.
Officially. So what blows my mind about that is clearly people, and I'm making the assumption here, were turned off by the fact that he actually came out. What were those people thinking up until that point?
Yeah, I mean, that's... I would have.
Like,
that's not my worst episode. My worst episode is the Escape from Kamataz, just because that whole interaction between Holly and Max for like so long.
Ironically, it has more votes on that episode, 183,000, than even the final episode, and it tops most of the other episodes by over 100,000. So I'm assuming there was some form of backlash about there being a gay character in the biggest cultural thing of 2025, and that's why it was probably tanked. But
that's disappointing.
For my answer, just from Bro, it's far better than Game of Thrones final season. So the second question I've got is, what wasn't it better than as an ending for a TV show?
Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, I think.
Season coming.
Okay, but it's a different story. Oh, okay, but I do think Ted Lasso had one of the perfect series finales of all time.
Okay, I can go with that.
It is not better than Firefly. The first and last season. No, I mean, I mean, are we talking about nerdy stuff? Are we talking about nerdy stuff or just any show
ever? You bitched enough about how bad it was, but you can't find something that was better than it.
Daredevil season 3, final season of that, or even Born Again. Even though I wasn't happy with that, even though I wasn't that happy with Born Again, I think
Born Again's not done.
Huh?
Born Again's not done.
No, I know. So that's why I'm going with season 3 of Daredevil, the first run on Netflix. I think that was better. I think Big Bang Theory is better. The final season.
Okay, I'd say Battlestar Galactica.
Good shout. Red Dwarf.
Sorry.
Red Dwarf.
Yeah, no, because Red Dwarf always comes
No.
back as well. In Red Dwarf,
Yeah, it's true. You're right. You know what? You're right. I take that back because it does just.
And then they kept
go
doing
to that.
specials here and there on an odd season.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I would say Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite endings to a TV show ever. Sons of Anarchy is pretty good, but Battlestar Galactica is brilliant because it.
Yeah, Sons has its up and down though a little bit. Is this season 3 where they kind of like?
But the last season of Sons of the last.
But it finished. Yeah, finished that.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
that's a good job.
David Tennant's leaving Doctor Who.
It's not the end though.
Okay, it's not, but it is a different show. It always turns into a different show when there's a new Doctor.
Star Trek Discovery.
And there was a new showrunner. It's a very different show.
Still not the end.
Star Trek Discovery season 5, I think, is a better final season, and it was cut short.
Okay. I think Heroes season 2 was a better season. No, I don't.
No, don't say that.
I feel like
Heroes season 2
absolutely add an episode where we discuss TV shows that did a massive drop off. So we need to add that to the list because Heroes in
definitely sure because Heroes is like the number one.
Yeah, season 1 was one of the best TV shows ever created, and season 2 was one of the worst seasons.
I literally showed that show to Steph. I was like, "You're gonna watch the best season of TV that you've ever seen, and then you're gonna watch how far it falls off."
Yeah. And then you're gonna want to shoot yourself for how badly they did this thing. Like it's so bad.
And I watched it all the way through too. I had to know how it ended.
I gave up.
I didn't come back for Heroes Reborn. That I did not come back for. I was like, no, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. No.
Oh, there's another episode for us. What TV shows do they need to bring back?
Oh, that we can have a list for.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Number 1 on Luch's list is Firefly.
Obviously.
We're not allowed to talk about Firefly during that episode.
We should add a drinking game rule that every time Luch brings up Firefly, we drink.
All Lord of the Rings.
I have not brought that up. You brought it up this episode. I spent the whole episode not talking about it. Thank you very much. Okay. But I will say that there is a rumor about a new Lego set that's coming out in June.
Oh, wow.
That involves that movie that you just mentioned.
I built my free Lego
series. Oh, very nice.
I just want to wrap up by reminding everybody that I enjoyed this season of Stranger Things. And if Joe Keery would like to slide into our DMs, he and I could talk about it more.
Absolutely.
I want to finish off by saying that I am not as enthusiastic about this last season of Stranger Things as my two co-hosts. And I also feel two things. Number one, it is quote unquote my truth. Okay. Yeah. But I also did think that it would be fun to not agree about this because number one, I'm not lying here. Yeah. I'm not lying here, audience. I really did not think that this was a great season of the show. I think there were great aspects of it. I think there were aspects of the finale that were great, but it's not how I wanted it to finish out. I think they missed out on several cool opportunities for them to continue either with this group or outside of this group, like they talked about. There's Stranger Things universe has not ended. There is more coming. There is the animated series. There's other things on the ticket as well. But I feel like there were a couple moves that they could have pulled that would have allowed them to make the choice of whether or not they wanted to continue with the Hawkins crew. Maybe years from now, maybe not. That I feel like they missed. And yeah, I just feel like they could have done something better, especially 3 years in between seasons 4.
Well, I mean, what we're looking at least 10 years before they can come back to this because they've signed that deal with Paramount. So everything they produce for the next 10 years will be a Paramount deal, or they'll be working exclusively for Paramount. So it'll be 10 years until we get.
But they have said that there are other things in the universe that they are going to
we get the Nancy spinoff, right? And there's going to be a Nancy spinoff.
Well,
no,
is it a full spinoff? I thought it was just the novel.
Okay.
Because there is a novel that was released.
I'll be honest.
In the last 2 or 3 weeks.
If it's not the original crew, I don't care. I was like, why do we need a Nancy spinoff? Unless it's going to be an X-Files type thing. And then eventually we find out she's in the X-Files. So be it. What was your opinion on season 5 of Stranger Things?
I was very angry.
Why were you angry?
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you, Gemma.
But let's see why she's angry.
See, no, I don't like a theory ending. I wanted a proper ending.
It was Luke's. Luke's wanted a definitive ending. He said that
Yeah.
with L.
I was like,
It's 2-2. Thank you, Gemma. I
not
appreciate it.
going to the place with the waterfalls.
Yeah.
You don't know that he's not.
She's dead.
I do
Just in his one head.
That's not
I'm just travel. How was Elle traveling to like New Zealand without a passport?
It was Iceland, first of all.
Right, wherever she wants.
You see, whoa. Clearly it was Greenland because she was the first of the invading party to land.
I've always said no politics this episode.
I was just a wee bit upset. I felt like it would just kind of like ended really rubbish.
That's not what she said.
Divorce.
With you, Gemma.
Marry Luke now.
I didn't say
That's
that.
why I spent the last hour defending this. Thank you, Gemma.
Swear words.
There we go.
And then stormed off to bed.
But she'd also had a feed to drink.
I also waited up the other night, hoping there was going to be another episode.
Me too.
You and Luke.
This guy was asleep. I'd waiting and refreshing. I was like, oh my God.
Because we knew it wasn't going to be on.
Nothing came.
Gemma, me and you, we were linked. We're linked right now.
That's
We also
can also like.
we cannot tell camp stories anymore because she's already given away where we worked.
That's true.
We've deliberately not named the camp because, we tell stories about it. I'll block it out.
Yeah, just an edit. Just blur it.
Yeah, you can blur it.
I don't have to give them a licensing.
But yeah, I was annoyed at it.
I loved it. I'm with you, Gemma. That was a really positive ending. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed.
No.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
It was a good ending to a TV show. We've had so many bad endings to TV shows. I liked it.
I'm glad we're going to see the show though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping
It was really good.
gives me closure.
It is good.
I probably won't.
Absolutely.
I'm with you, Gemma. 100%.
Tough life. Right.
Bye, guy.
All right. And on that note, so bye from me. You guys finished? You got anything more to add?
Justice for Eddie.
Eddie's dead.
Still justice for Eddie.
Oh, Joseph Quinn can also slide into my DMs. That's fine.